fellow Toastmasters and guests, how many of you in this room tonight have ever been to a flea market? So, everybody. Well, as some of you may know, in a previous speech I collect antique silverware, sterling silver. So, I started going to flea markets, and I went to my first flea market this past spring. And before I went, I had never been to a flea market, and I had this idea of like, poor people go, or who goes to flea markets? I had this totally wrong impression. So I went to this flea market. It was on the near south side. I remember it was in the spring. Unemployment was at 9%. Generally, people were in a kind of a dreary mood. And I was amazed when I went to this flea market early in the morning at this bustling of activity, people buying and selling, and thousands of people. Couldn't even get a spot in the parking lot. And I was like, wow. And I remember I went there, I brought a big wad of cash with me, $500, put it in my pocket. And I was kind of walking through the aisles, the vendors. I kind of felt like a big shot, like I was better than these people, they're just like poor people at a flea market. But slowly my opinion changed, and I didn't really find that much. I found a couple sterling silver rings, not a big deal. But that impression of the hardworking people just buying and selling, and it really occurred to me, this is what capitalism is about. People just doing their best, getting up early in the morning, what have you. So a few months later, someone said, the best flea market in the area is the Allstate Arena Flea Market. You got to go there. You find all kinds of stuff. So I started going to the Allstate Arena. It's during the summer. It's on Sundays. And I was really amazed at this flea market. Just as an example of what you can find, I was cruising Niles, the flea market, just a few weeks ago, and like I said, I looked for silver, and the gentleman had different antique stuff, different silver things, but he had something like this on his table. It was just basically mixed in with the other stuff, and I was like, wow, this looks nice. How much? He says, $3. I said, I'll take it. And the reason why I took it was because I saw on the bottom it had some type of initial that meant it was an old piece of silver and it was worth a couple $100 or $150. Wow. So the lesson from that, when you go to flea markets, it's best to specialize in a couple things. But to get back to the Allstate Arena, what are you going to find at the Allstate Arena Flea Market? So basically they're going to have new merchandise like cell phones or toys in packages. They're going to have antique stuff, collectibles like sporting goods, sports memorabilia, books, albums, coins. Basically, people in this country collect everything. Anything you can think of, just look on eBay. And this flea market also has produce and different types of food. So the key is to specialize in a few things so you know them better than most of the other people. So say you're looking for baseball cards. You can buy a baseball card from a sports memorabilia dealer. Say you're looking for a Babe Ruth card where you might get a good deal, but the way you're going to get the best deal is you're going up and down the aisles, maybe and some little old lady is selling antique glassware and she happens to have a box of baseball cards. Oh, my husband died and he left these cards, and you're like, really? And you start looking through and you find what you want. That's the way to do it. So a few other tips for flea markets. There's also different types of flea markets. Like the Allstate Arena, it's a general purpose flea market. It's like one of the best flea markets in the Midwest. Like I said, they have a little bit of everything. You can go to a website. It's called keyfleamarkets.com. It has a list of maybe 20 flea markets for the Midwest. And there's some flea markets specialize in like new goods, new merchandise. Maybe it's stolen, I don't know. Or antique stuff. And then there's also antique flea markets. So once you've picked out your specialties, one or two things, or maybe more, the next key is to go there early in the morning. A lot of these flea markets, people start going as early as 5 in the morning, and it's generally admission charge is just a couple dollars. So you want to get there early, but if you can't get up at 5 in the morning, you can go as late as 8 or 9 when people are still setting up, or even later in the day if you're looking for someone that's really, if you're looking for something that is just way out there, you can probably find it at any time. So you don't necessarily have to go early. And what you want to do is you want to take at least 2 different pass-throughs through the Allstate Arena. They may have a couple hundred vendors. There's either going to be vendors that rent out a little booth for about $20 a week, or people like us that pay $2 to go. So you want to make a couple passes. So what type of people, as I said, hardworking folks at this flea market that I first went to on the south side, but really, who goes to the flea market? So since I started going, I've run into antique shop owners that go there. They go early in the morning. They buy stuff for a couple dollars, resell it for God knows what, whatever they can. I've found high-end resale shop owners that sell stuff. And who goes? People like me, just average people, or I know some wealthy suburbanites, $1 million house. They go and they buy antique soap advertising. But like I said, more than just getting a good buy and making a few bucks, the thing I love about flea markets, it's like the great equalizer. Like everybody's the same. And there's also a lot of different ethnic groups from all really over the world, so it represents what this country is all about. But it doesn't matter if you're a rich guy or a poor guy, everyone's just like looking for something that they want, and someone has something that they're selling. And I thought, just to make my speech, really glossy, I thought if you could take a snapshot of a flea market and go back in 10 years, I guarantee you that some of these people will be very successful small businessmen, what have you. And the fact is nowadays we see people on Wall Street or bankers, someone will get a pay package of $20 million for laying off 10,000 people because it saves the company money. People think of scams all the time to rip people off. But the fact is, your local flea market really represents what capitalism is about and the spirit of the country. So I really recommend, this flea market season is almost over, but starting next spring, hopefully I've encouraged a few of you to go out there and find something priceless. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.